Banteng, the wild cattle of Asia. In the dense tropical forests and woodlands of Southeast Asia, a magnificent wild bovine roams with the grace of a dancer and the strength of a gladiator. The Banteng, Bos javanicus, often called the wild ox of Java, represents one of the most remarkable yet endangered members of the cattle family. These powerful animals have captured the imagination of conservationists, researchers, and wildlife enthusiasts alike, serving as both a symbol of Asia's rich biodiversity and a stark reminder of the challenges facing wildlife in our rapidly changing world. Physical characteristics and appearance. The Banteng is a striking animal that immediately commands attention with its robust build and distinctive coloration. Adult males, known as bulls, can reach impressive dimensions, standing 1.5 to 1.7 meters at the shoulder and weighing between 600 to 800 kilograms. Females are considerably smaller, typically weighing 300 to 400 kilograms, displaying the sexual dimorphism common among many bovine species. What truly sets the Banteng apart is its remarkable coat coloration, which varies dramatically between sexes and ages. Adult males sport a deep chocolate brown to almost black coat that gleams in the dappled forest light, while females and young males maintain a lighter reddish-brown or chestnut coloration. Perhaps most striking are the distinctive white markings that adorn all Banteng individuals. Bright white patches on the rump, lower legs, and often around the muzzle create a stunning contrast against their darker coats, earning them the nickname white-stockinged cattle. The Banteng's horns are another defining feature, curved backward in an elegant arc that speaks to both beauty and function. Bulls possess particularly impressive horns that can span up to 75 centimeters from tip to tip, while females have smaller, more delicate horns. These horns are not merely ornamental. They serve crucial roles in defense, dominance displays, and foraging behavior. Their muscular build reflects their adaptation to life in challenging terrain. Strong legs and sturdy hooves enable them to navigate rocky outcrops, steep hillsides, and dense undergrowth with surprising agility for such large animals. Their broad muzzles and strong jaws are perfectly adapted for grazing on tough grasses and browsing on shrubs and tree branches. Geographic distribution and habitat. The Banteng's historical range once stretched across much of mainland Southeast Asia, from Myanmar and Thailand through Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, extending to the Malaysian peninsula and the Indonesian islands of Java, Bali, and Borneo. This wide distribution reflected the species' remarkable adaptability to various habitats within the tropical and subtropical zones. Today, however, the story is markedly different. The Banteng's range has contracted dramatically, with populations now fragmented across isolated pockets of suitable habitat. The largest remaining populations are found in Cambodia, particularly in the Eastern Plains landscape, where several thousand individuals roam protected areas and surrounding forests. Thailand maintains several important populations, especially in the western forest complexes near the Myanmar border. Indonesia's Java still harbors Banteng in its national parks, though numbers have declined precipitously from historical levels. Banteng demonstrate remarkable habitat flexibility, thriving in diverse environments from dense primary forests to more open woodland savannas. They show a particular preference for forest edge habitats where dense canopy gives way to grasslands or clearings, providing both the security of forest cover and the abundant grazing opportunities of open areas. These ecotone environments offer the perfect combination of resources that Banteng require throughout their daily and seasonal cycles. The species has also shown an ability to adapt to human-modified landscapes when necessary, occasionally venturing into agricultural areas adjacent to forests. However, this adaptability comes with significant risks, as human-wildlife conflict often results from such encounters. Banteng require large territories to meet their needs, with home ranges that can extend over several square kilometers depending on resource availability and population density. Water sources play a crucial role in habitat selection, as Banteng must drink regularly and often travel considerable distances to reach reliable water sources during dry seasons. This dependence on water makes them particularly vulnerable to habitat fragmentation and climate change impacts that affect water availability. Behavior and social structure. The social organization of Banteng is both complex and fascinating, reflecting sophisticated behavioral adaptations to their environment and evolutionary history. These animals live in structured herds that typically consist of females, their offspring, and occasionally subordinate males. Mature bulls often lead solitary lives or form small bachelor groups, joining female herds primarily during breeding seasons. Female-led herds usually number between 8 to 15 individuals, though group sizes can vary significantly based on resource availability and population density. The matriarchal structure means that experienced older females often guide group movements, make decisions about feeding locations, and serve as sentinels for danger. This social structure has proven highly effective for raising young and surviving in challenging environments. Banteng are primarily crepuscular, meaning they are most active during dawn and dusk hours when temperatures are cooler and predation risk may be reduced. During the heat of midday, herds typically seek shade in dense forest areas, often engaging in social behaviors such as grooming and resting. Early morning and late afternoon hours are dedicated to intensive feeding, when Banteng can be observed grazing in open areas or browsing on forest vegetation. Communication among Banteng involves a sophisticated array of visual, vocal, and chemical signals. Low-frequency vocalizations help maintain herd cohesion in dense vegetation, while various postures and movements convey information about status, intentions, and emotional states. Scent marking through urine and dung deposits provides information to other Banteng about territory use, reproductive status, and individual identity. The species displays remarkable intelligence in their foraging strategies, demonstrating seasonal knowledge of resource availability and sophisticated navigation abilities across their territories. They maintain mental maps of water sources, seasonal feeding areas, and safe refuge sites, passing this knowledge between generations through social learning. During the dry season, Banteng may undertake significant migrations in search of food and water, sometimes traveling dozens of kilometers between seasonal ranges. These movements require intimate knowledge of the landscape and often follow traditional routes used for generations. Diet and feeding ecology. As herbivores, Banteng play a crucial ecological role as both grazers and browsers, influencing plant community structure and nutrient cycling throughout their habitats. Their diet demonstrates remarkable flexibility, adapting to seasonal changes in plant availability and quality. During wet seasons when grasses are abundant and nutritious, Banteng primarily graze in open areas, consuming various grass species along with herbs and forbs. As the dry season progresses and grass quality declines, Banteng shift increasingly toward browsing behavior, feeding on leaves, shoots, and bark from shrubs and trees. This dietary flexibility has been key to their survival in environments characterized by pronounced wet and dry seasons. They show preferences for young, tender growth, but can survive on mature, fibrous plant material when necessary. Banteng possess the complex digestive system typical of ruminants, allowing them to extract maximum nutrition from plant materials through fermentation. Their four-chambered stomachs enable them to process tough, cellulose-rich vegetation that would be indigestible to many other animals. This capability allows them to thrive in environments where other large herbivores might struggle. The species' feeding behavior has significant ecological impacts. Their grazing creates a mosaic of vegetation heights and densities that benefits numerous other species, from insects to birds to small mammals. Their browsing can influence forest structure and composition, potentially preventing certain areas from becoming too densely vegetated. As they move through their territories, Banteng disperse seeds through their dung, contributing to forest regeneration and plant community dynamics. Salt is an essential component of Banteng diet, and they will travel considerable distances to access natural salt licks or mineral-rich soils. These sites often become focal points for multiple herds and can be important locations for social interactions and information exchange between groups. Water requirements are substantial, with individuals needing to drink daily when possible. During dry seasons, competition for water sources can intensify, and Banteng may need to adjust their ranging patterns significantly to maintain access to reliable water supplies. Reproduction and life cycle. The reproductive biology of Banteng reflects adaptations to seasonal environments and social living. Breeding typically occurs during cooler months, though timing can vary geographically based on local climate patterns. The gestation period lasts approximately 285 days, similar to domestic cattle, with females typically giving birth to single calves. Mating systems involve complex social dynamics, with dominant bulls competing for access to receptive females. These competitions can involve elaborate displays of strength and dominance, including horn wrestling, charging displays, and vocalizations. Successful males may breed with multiple females within a herd, though sneaky mating by subordinate males also occurs. Pregnant females often seek secluded areas for calving, temporarily leaving the herd to give birth in safe locations away from potential predators and disturbances. Newborn calves are relatively well developed at birth, but remain hidden for their first few days of life while building strength. Mothers return periodically to nurse and care for their young during this vulnerable period. Calves typically rejoin the herd within a week of birth, staying close to their mothers for protection and learning crucial survival skills. The bond between mother and calf is strong, lasting well beyond weaning. Young Banteng learn essential behaviors through observation and imitation, including foraging techniques, predator recognition, and social protocols. Sexual maturity is reached at approximately 2 to 3 years of age, though males may not successfully breed until they are older and larger enough to compete effectively with other males. Females may remain with their natal herds throughout their lives, while males typically disperse upon reaching maturity to avoid inbreeding and competition with their fathers. Lifespan in the wild can reach 20 years or more under favorable conditions, though actual longevity is often limited by various environmental pressures including predation, disease, and human activities. In captivity, where threats are minimized and veterinary care is available, Banteng can live even longer. Conservation status and threats. The conservation status of Banteng is deeply concerning, with the species classified as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. Current population estimates suggest fewer than 8,000 individuals remain in the wild across their entire range, representing a dramatic decline from historical numbers. This precipitous decrease has occurred primarily over the past century, coinciding with rapid human population growth and development across Southeast Asia. Habitat loss stands as the most significant threat facing Banteng populations. Deforestation for agriculture, logging, and urban development has fragmented and eliminated vast areas of suitable habitat. The conversion of forests to oil palm plantations has been particularly devastating in Indonesia and Malaysia, while agricultural expansion continues to reduce available habitat throughout the species range. Human-wildlife conflict represents another major challenge, as Banteng occasionally raid crops when natural food sources are scarce or when human activities have encroached on their territories. These conflicts often result in retaliatory killings by farmers protecting their livelihoods, further reducing already vulnerable populations. Hunting pressure, both legal and illegal, continues to impact Banteng populations. While some hunting may be sustainable when properly managed, illegal hunting for meat, trophies, and traditional medicine ingredients poses serious threats. The species' large size and valuable parts make them attractive targets for poachers. Disease transmission from domestic cattle represents an emerging threat that could have devastating impacts on wild populations. Banteng can contract various diseases from domestic livestock, including foot and mouth disease, bovine tuberculosis, and other pathogens that could potentially cause population crashes. Climate change presents additional challenges through its impacts on habitat quality, water availability, and plant community composition. Altered rainfall patterns and increased frequency of extreme weather events could significantly affect food and water resources that Banteng depend upon. The fragmentation of populations into isolated groups creates additional conservation challenges. Small, isolated populations face increased risks of inbreeding, genetic drift, and local extinction from stochastic events. Maintaining connectivity between populations is crucial for long-term viability. Conservation efforts and success stories. Despite the challenges, significant conservation efforts are underway to protect remaining Banteng populations and their habitats. Protected area establishment has been a cornerstone of conservation strategy, with numerous national parks and wildlife reserves across the species range providing critical habitat protection. In Cambodia, the Eastern Plains landscape represents one of the most important Banteng conservation areas, supporting perhaps the largest remaining population. International conservation organizations have worked closely with the Cambodian government to strengthen protection measures, reduce hunting pressure, and engage local communities in conservation efforts. Community-based conservation programs have shown particular promise, recognizing that local people must be partners in conservation efforts for them to succeed long-term. These programs often provide alternative livelihood opportunities while creating incentives for habitat protection and wildlife conservation. Ex situ conservation efforts, including captive breeding programs in zoos and wildlife facilities, serve as insurance populations against extinction. While these programs cannot replace wild populations, they maintain genetic diversity and provide opportunities for research and education. Research programs have dramatically improved our understanding of Banteng ecology, behavior, and conservation needs. Camera trap surveys, GPS collar studies, and genetic analyses have provided crucial data for developing effective conservation strategies. Habitat restoration projects are working to reconnect fragmented forests and improve degraded areas. These efforts often involve replanting native vegetation, removing invasive species, and restoring natural water sources. International cooperation has been essential for Banteng conservation, given their distribution across multiple countries. Regional agreements and coordinated conservation strategies help ensure that efforts are effective across political boundaries. The future of Banteng conservation. The future of Banteng depends on sustained, coordinated conservation efforts that address multiple threats simultaneously. Expanding and connecting protected areas will be crucial for maintaining viable populations and allowing for natural movements and gene flow. This may require innovative approaches such as wildlife corridors and community conservation areas that provide protection while allowing sustainable use by local people. Reducing human-wildlife conflict through improved crop protection methods, compensation programs for farmers, and alternative livelihood development will be essential for reducing retaliatory killings and building local support for conservation. Advanced technologies are increasingly important tools for Banteng conservation. Satellite monitoring can track habitat changes and detect illegal activities, while genetic techniques help assess population health and guide management decisions. Camera traps and other monitoring tools provide crucial data for adaptive management approaches. Education and awareness programs help build support for Banteng conservation among local communities, government officials, and the general public. These efforts must emphasize the ecological and cultural importance of Banteng while providing practical solutions for coexistence. International funding and technical support will continue to be necessary for implementing comprehensive conservation programs. The costs of effective conservation are significant, but they pale in comparison to the irreplaceable value of preserving these magnificent animals for future generations. Climate change adaptation strategies must be integrated into conservation planning, helping Banteng populations cope with changing environmental conditions. This may involve protecting climate refugia, facilitating range shifts, and managing habitats to enhance resilience. The Banteng stands as both a symbol of Southeast Asia's incredible biodiversity and a test of our commitment to wildlife conservation. These remarkable animals have survived for millennia through their adaptability and resilience, but they cannot survive the current rate of habitat destruction and human pressure without our help. Their future depends on recognizing their intrinsic value and taking decisive action to ensure their survival. Success in Banteng conservation will require unprecedented cooperation between governments, conservation organizations, local communities, and the international community. The stakes could not be higher. Losing the Banteng would represent not just the extinction of a species, but the loss of an irreplaceable component of Earth's natural heritage. Through dedicated effort and sustained commitment, we can work to ensure that future generations will have the opportunity to witness these magnificent wild cattle roaming the forests of Asia, as they have for countless generations before us.